I'm Simon 30. My registration is over on student 1. This is my 8th lab experiment in database lab. The title of the experiment is functions, triggers, and procedures. Here I am supposed to create 4 tables with namely student membership, book, and ISS record, and attributes are given, and the table data is also given. So I have created the 4 tables based on the table data given in the question, and this is my question. Let's see the query number 1, and the query number goes like this: create a stored procedure that displays name and register number for students whose membership is passed as parameter. So for this, to create I have to create a procedure. Basic syntax of the procedure is create or replace procedure and the name of the procedure, and it follows a begin statement where we give the logic for the statement and end. So the basic tool tags for these are the basic tool tags for all the procedure, trigger, and function questions. And for the basic difference between procedure and function is that in procedure we do not return any values, but in function we need to return any values so that the function gets printed in the output. So now let's see create and replace in the trigger, and it should mem number. In trigger we use whatever the input we use, we give as it in the attribute name into what we're gonna display in output, and the attribute type. The same thing, whatever we're gonna want in output, whatever we're gonna display in output should be followed by a keyword called out and stem. So student name percentage type. So what the student name, whatever may be the percent marker length, it's going to print in the output. So s dot student name and s dot student number into s name. So we're going to print these both into the serial number from. So we are going to select serial number and s name from student s. So we are calling these two variables using an object called s that I have created for this table called student, and member m, where m dot student number is equal to s dot student number. So here we're gonna select the values from two different tables, where the if student number from student table matches with the student number from member table, it prints the gonna access the student name from the member table and student number from the student table, and it prints in the output. So dbms output dot putline is the is like printf statement that we use to print in SQL. So I'm printing student number and student name with the space, and every procedure need to be ended particularly, and it here again my procedure ends. And second question is create a stored procedure that receives the book number and raise in a parameter. It then raises the price of that book in the book table. So whenever a book is borrowed, it should raise the price of should raise the price of book in that book table. So here I'm gonna use procedure create. So here we're gonna access the student number, serial number, student number, and student name, and begin student ID. Through this ID we're gonna get the details. So I'm getting that the student registration number and name as Avila. To this the procedure is successfully completed. Here we're gonna replace create appraise other procedure to appraise the price of the book that is borrowed. So here the B number is my input, and appraise is also my input. So I'm gonna give book number and what price should be appraised to that book. So update book and set price is equal to price plus the previous price plus my new price what I'm gonna give, where book number is equal to B number. It will select from the book table and end. Then now I'm gonna check my data from my book table. Here I got the data, and my next query is create a stored procedure which take issue date and membership as input. The procedure should display the number of days that book has been borrowed. So here whenever a user borrows a book, the procedure should display the number of days he has borrowed book. So here I'm going to create a procedure. The name of the procedure is cdate, and in date, issue date, and mem number is my input. So what member the member number and issue date will be my inputs. So whenever I give these as input, I should get the how many days the book has been taken from the library. So I have begin the issue date, set to date, to issue date, as this is the format for the date to date. From the system, it takes from the system date, and it selects whenever a new user borrows, then it prints the issue date, and it calculates the number of days the user has borrowed, and the procedure is also created successfully. And the next procedure is to, and the next is to, and here I have to declare the issue date. So I am dealing with issue date is an data type, number data type. I have to declare that issue date is a number data type, and begin C date, this is my consider it as input. And so whenever I give the input, for this input I am getting the output as 7125 days since issued the book. And then now we are going to the functions. The functions, we need to return something. So that data type which we are dealing with, which we are returning inside the function. So create a function which count total number of books having price more than 300. So for this I have created a function with name as total seek, total calculation, and return number. I am here, as I am returning total, the total data type is number. I have to give the represent the data type here, and total number. So we have to this and function. So I have to name the function. So I have used 2 as my variable, and let's consider an array. In that array I have created books, all the books. Through that array I am, through the pointer checks every book in an array. If the book price is greater than 300, then it prints that output in that book, and those count will be printed into the total. So here the count of book name, as we are dealing with book names, since the book names don't have the serial numbers, I am printing the counting them in the book names into total. Total is my function what I'm going to return. All the values will be stored in total from book where price is greater than 300. When the query executes, the books with price is greater than 300 will be printed into book name, and the count of that book name will be returned into total, and the value will be returned to the function, and the function is created. And create a function which count total fine to be paid by members. For that, see here I'm after creation of function, I should declare what the variables are. So C total is a number, and C total is, so number of books greater than, so this is a printout statement that is used. So whatever the values that is written into this function will be stored into C total, and that should be displayed in the output. So that for that I am using dbms output.putLine. So I am getting the output like 5 books is greater than 300 based on the data that I have entered in the previously. And the next one is to create a function to display the member with max fine. So same thing, I have created a function with total fine and number. Begin sum of fine, sorry the total fine paid by the members. So for that I am accessing the attribute fine in the issue record table. The sum is a predefined function. The sum of fine will return me the value total value of fine. So that will be stored in total, and that will be written here. So I need to declare that total begin f dot is equal to total function, so that whatever the value that is written in this function will be stored in total f, and that will be printed in the output. And the total fine I am getting like 125 rupees. And next is create a function to display the member with max fine. So that I have to create a function. I have created a function with max f. System.ref cursor is then a predefined function. So I am using that here. Is total. It automatically chooses the data type that we are going here. Begin select from ISS record, since we are selecting all rows from them. So max of fine, maximum number of fine will be written here, and the function is created. And the next thing is create a trigger to prevent the student to borrow more than 4 books. So I'm creating a trigger. For trigger we need to mention an event, whether before the insertion or after insertion, before update or after update, so that the trigger gets automatically called whenever there is a modification done to the database. So here I am creating the basic syntax of trigger is create or replace trigger. So already I have used book, a trigger called book. So I am naming the something like book K. So I am giving the event before the insertion of any data on this table. For each row, declare b count number is equal to 0. So I am using a some variable called b count here. The count value will be stored in b count from ISS record. Whenever there is a new member accessing the record, if the count exceeds 4, then it raises an error called cannot borrow more than 4 books, and the trigger is created. And the next trigger is create a trigger to prevent student who is a non-member to borrow a book. For this, I have used same thing. I have created a book called non. Since I have used book non somewhere in my previous experiments, I am using creating another name with book underscore non. So after an update on the membership, so whenever there is an update on membership, the trigger is automatically get calls. And when the old number is equal to new number, when the new number is equal to old number, if the new number matches with the old number, then it's okay. It means that the person who in the records is borrowing the book. If this does not match, it then raises an error that it's not the person is not a recognized person, and create a trigger to delete the record in membership table whenever the student is removed from the table. So here it's given that whenever a student is removed from the table, so that the trigger event should happen whenever there is a deletion on membership. So I have given the event as deletion on membership. Clear or replace trigger name after delete on student for each row. Begin delete membership m, where student name is equal to old student name. So whenever the student name which we are gonna give input will be stored in this old number. So it checks with that particular data in the student name and gets delete that date. And the last one is create a trigger to warn when the number of books borrowed becomes more than 3. So for this I have created a trigger warn before insert. So before inserting, before getting the data, we need to print that in the output. So I am giving an event as before input data. And same thing I have using the count here. That count value will be stored in b count from where we are getting this getting the data from issue.record table, where when the new member accesses the table, if he is borrowing, if the count exceeds 3, then then it automatically throws an output statement as he is taking more than 3 books, and the statement ends. That's all. Thank you.